Okay, picture this, just for a second. It's, say, a Friday afternoon. You have built a product that you know is genuinely great.
Hmm.
You've put the blood, sweat, and, the tears into it. You've closed your first 20, maybe 30 clients, and you know they're happy. You can feel it.
They tell you they're happy.
Exactly. They tell you. They'll drop a note on Slack or they'll say it at the very end of a Zoom call, hey, this is working really well. Thanks for all the help.
Right. Or a quick LinkedIn message.
Yeah, that's the one. And you feel like you're on top of the world. But then you do the thing you're supposed to do as a founder. You sit down, you open up your email, and you ask them for a written testimonial. And what happens?
Radio silence?
Complete, deafening radio silence. It is, I think, one of the most frustrating things in the world. You go from feeling like this hero, like you've solved their biggest problem, to feeling like you're bothering them.
Yeah, suddenly you're the annoying salesperson knocking on their door during dinner.
Yes, and that's the feeling. It's so specific.
It is, and it's a classic scenario, unfortunately. We actually call this the social proof paradox.
The social proof paradox.
It's this incredibly frustrating tension where you have the quality, you have the happy customers, you have the results, but you have absolutely no way to prove it to the outside world. And that gap between the reality of your product and the public perception of your product is where so many startups and honestly even established businesses just start to lose momentum.
Exactly. And that is what we are digging into today. We are not just talking about, marketing fluff here. This isn't a deep dive on how to write a catchy headline.
No, not at all.
We are talking about a very specific operational bottleneck that exists in almost every single company I have ever seen. And more importantly, we're going to look at a system, a solution that turns this whole awkward asking for a favor dynamic into a machine.
Right. We are analyzing a specific operational workflow today. And to do that, we are doing a deep dive into a company called VA Connect.
And that's pronounced VA Connect, just for everyone listening.
Correct. They are a South African-managed virtual assistant agency. But before you tune out thinking, oh, this is just another outsourcing story, I know how this works, you really need to pause.
Yeah, I had that thought first, too.
And it's a natural reaction. But this isn't about just hiring random freelancers on a marketplace. This is about a very specific managed service model that VA Connect has engineered to solve this exact problem, getting testimonials at scale without the founder having to, lose their mind doing it.
We've got a stack of documents here that is honestly pretty impressive. There's a detailed white paper called How VA Connect Helps Startups Gather Testimonials Productively. Plus, we have their company history, service breakdowns.
Yeah.
We even have some of their internal training documents, which give a really interesting look under the hood.
They do.
So what's the mission for this deep dive? What are we trying to figure out?
The mission really is to dismantle the ask and wait strategy. That's what most people are doing. We are going to look at why doing it yourself is, and I mean this literally, mathematically disastrous for your business.
The math is brutal. We'll get to that.
It is. Then we're going to look at how the VA Connect model actually works. And specifically, we're going to break down their 5-phase workflow that takes a raw, messy client conversation and turns it into a polished case study in 8 days flat.
8 days? That sounds like a dream compared to the 6 months I usually wait for nothing.
It's a different world.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the stakes. Let's call this session 1, the high cost of the ask and wait strategy. Why is this such a big deal? I mean, why can't we just let the work speak for itself?
Well, the simple answer is that it doesn't, or at least nobody can hear it. Let's look at the data on trust. We have research here from Trustpilot that is, pretty damning for anyone ignoring this.
Okay.
It says 98% of consumers can identify at least one trust signal that increases their likelihood to buy.
98%. So that's basically everyone. And I'm guessing testimonials are pretty high on that list of signals.
Extremely high. In that same study, testimonials rank at 78% effectiveness for building trust. Think about that. Nearly 4 out of 5 people are directly influenced by them.
And what about for, B2B, for the kind of software and services a lot of our listeners are building?
It's even more critical there. Gartner's 2025 trends show that 90% of B2B buyers rely on social proof during their research phase.
90%. So if you don't have it, you are basically invisible to 9 out of 10 potential buyers. It doesn't matter how good your product is.
You don't exist. You could have the best software in the world, but if nobody is vouching for it, you're not even in the consideration set. You are effectively shouting into the void.
And there's a real ROI here. It's not just a feeling.
Oh, a massive one. The Spiegel Research Center found that displaying reviews can increase conversion by up to 270%.
270%.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not a small margin. That is the difference between a failing business and a unicorn.
It's the difference between bootstrapping forever and closing your Series A. It's that fundamental.
So, if the ROI is that high, if the data is so clear, why is everyone so bad at this? Why is it always the thing that gets pushed to next quarter?
It comes down to a concept from chemistry, actually. Activation energy.
Okay, explain that.
It's the minimum amount of energy required to start a reaction. Most founders treat testimonial collection as a favor. They think it's about enthusiasm. They think if the client likes me, they will write a review.
Right. It feels like an emotional transaction.
Exactly. It's an emotional transaction in their heads. But the uncomfortable truth, as our source material puts it, is that collecting testimonials is a specialized, time-intensive operation. It has nothing to do with product quality or how much your customer likes you. It's about execution discipline. It's a workflow, not a feeling.
The sources outline 3 specific failure modes that founders fall into. And I want to walk through these because I feel like I have personally lived all 3 of them, and I bet our listeners have too.
I think we all have.
The first one is called the ask and wait death spiral.
Right. This is the most common one. It starts with good intentions. You send a friendly, low-pressure email. Hey, hope you're well. Would love a review when you have a spare moment.
Yep.
The client sees it. They genuinely like you and your product. And they think, I love these guys. I really want to write a good review. I want to do it justice.
Okay, so their intentions are good too.
Their intentions are perfect. But that thought, I want to do it justice, is the killer. Because now it's not a 2-minute task. It's a creative writing project.
It's homework.
It is homework. So they think, I'll do it on the weekend when I have time to sit down and really focus.
The weekend comes and life happens. They have kids or laundry or a lawn to mow, or they just want to binge watch a show on Netflix.
Exactly. They're exhausted, so they don't do it.
Yeah.
Then Monday comes. Now you, the founder, feel awkward. You don't want to follow up because you don't want to be annoying.
You're burning that social capital you've built.
Precisely. So you wait. And you wait. And suddenly 6 months have passed. The specific, powerful value the client got from your product has faded from their memory. The emotion is gone.
And the opportunity is lost.
The opportunity is completely lost.
Yeah.
And you can't really go back.
That is painful because it's so preventable.
Okay, failure mode number 2, the generic testimonial trap.
This one, I think, might be even worse in some ways because it gives you a false sense of security.
How so?
Because the client actually replies, you feel a sense of victory. But what they write is something like, great product, would recommend.
Which sounds nice. It feels good to read. It's a little boost to your ego.
It sounds wonderful to your ego, but to a potential buyer who's on the fence, it's useless. It's worse than useless.
Why worse?
Because sophisticated buyers, the ones with the budget, they smell the lack of specificity a mile away. If a testimonial doesn't say why it's good or how it helped or what problem it solved, it reads like it was coerced.
It reads like you asked your mom to write a review for your new app. Exactly. It can actually harm your credibility.
Yeah.
Because it makes you look amateurish. It suggests that this is the best you could get.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. And then there's the third one, which it's the wallet hard, the founder bandwidth black hole. This is the one where the founder decides, fine, I'll do it myself, properly.
And this is where we get into the brutal math of DIY. The source breaks down the economic calculation, and it is genuinely eye-opening. Let's assume a founder's time is worth a very conservative $150 an hour.
Which, honestly, for most founders, the opportunity cost is way higher than that. They should be working on things that only they can do.
Way higher, but let's stick with $150.
Just to be fair.
Okay, $150 now.
So to get one quality testimonial, not a generic one, but a real usable case study, you have to do the outreach, the scheduling, the actual interview. Then you have to transcribe it, edit it into a coherent story, send it back for approval, maybe go through a few rounds of revisions, and then finally format it for the website.
That sounds like a lot of steps. It is. The source estimates this case, best case scenario, about 6.5 hours of focused work.
6.5 hours. So at $150 an hour,
Right.
that's almost $1,000. $975 of founder time just to get one asset on the website.
That's the best case. But we don't live in a best case world. The real world has friction. Clients ghost you on the interview. They take 2 weeks to approve the text. You need major revisions because legal gets involved.
Oh, legal. Yeah.
When you factor all of that in, The source estimates the true cost climbs to between $1,800 and $2,400 in opportunity cost for a single testimonial.
That is wild. So if I want to build a decent library of social proof, say 20 testimonials, I'm burning through nearly $50,000 of my own time.
You are. You're spending 50 grand of your most valuable resource, your own time, on an administrative task. And that is time you are not spending on product development, not spending on fundraising, and not spending on high-level sales. You are essentially paying yourself a CEO salary to be a marketing coordinator. It's an incredibly expensive way to do business.
So that's the problem. It's expensive, it's slow, and it usually doesn't work. So, enter VA Connect. Let's shift gears. Section 2. Let's talk about who these guys are and why their model is so different. Right. Because when I hear virtual assistant, my mind immediately goes to scrolling through Upwork or Fiverr at 2 in the morning, trying to find someone to format a spreadsheet for $20. And it always feels like a bit of a gamble.
And that is exactly the distinction we need to make right up front. VA Connect, again, that's VA Connect, isn't a marketplace. It is a managed virtual assistant agency. The word managed is the key.
Let's look at their origin story. The source says it started back in 2008.
Yes, it was originally founded as a company called Lime Tree Consulting by Karen. The documents describe her as a seasoned entrepreneur with a captain's work ethic, which I love.
A captain's work ethic, I like that too.
She rebranded the company to VA Connect in 2014 to focus specifically on this managed model. She saw the flaw in the marketplace approach.
And they are based in South Africa.
Yes, and they've grown to become Africa's largest managed VA agency. They have over 35 team members now, and their motto is apparently, small enough to care, big enough to guarantee quality.
Okay, so let's break that down. What is the structural difference between VA Connect and hiring a freelancer on Fiverr or Upwork? Why is managed such a big deal?
Institutional backup. Those are the two key words. If you hire a freelancer on Upwork, you are hiring an individual. And individuals get sick, their internet goes down,
Right.
They might be juggling 12 other clients and your project is low priority. Or, and this happens all the time, they just decide to quit because they got a better full-time gig.
And you're stranded. Your entire workflow just stops dead.
It stops. And you are back to square one. You have to write the job posts, sift through applications, do interviews. You lose weeks.
Yeah, the switching cost is huge.
It's massive. With VA Connect, the VAs are part of a team. They are employees of the agency. So if your dedicated VA is sick, the agency has a backup who's already familiar with your account and can step in. There's a manager overseeing the quality. There are systems in place. They act as a true extension of your team, not just a gig worker you found online.
And the numbers seem to back that up. The retention rates are crazy.
They're amazing. The source says they have a 98% retention rate for both clients and their VAs over a 14-month period.
That is unheard of in the gig economy. Usually, freelance retention is measured in weeks, maybe a few months if you're lucky.
It shows that the model works, people feel supported, so they stay.
Now, the source makes a really big deal about the why South Africa aspect. Why is that specific geography an advantage? Is it just a simple cost play?
The cost is a significant factor, but it's not the only one. The source breaks it down into a combination of 4 key advantages: time zone, language, cost, and culture.
Okay, let's take those one by one. Time zone.
South Africa is typically on GMT+2. That aligns almost perfectly with the UK and Europe, which is a huge market. But crucially, it also overlaps for 4 to 8 hours with the US markets, depending on whether you're East Coast or West Coast.
So you can actually have real-time collaboration. It's not just sending an email into the void and waiting 24 hours for a reply. You can jump on a Slack huddle or a quick Zoom call.
Exactly. It makes them part of the daily workflow, not just an overnight service. Second, you have language.
This seems really important for the testimonial process.
It's critical. The source highlights the neutral English accents and the very high level of professional proficiency. If you are putting these VAs in front of your clients to conduct an interview, you cannot have a communication barrier. It has to feel natural and professional.
Right. If the client is struggling to understand the interviewer or feels like there's a cultural gap, the whole flow of the conversation dies. They clam up.
You won't get the good stuff. Third is the cost arbitrage, which we mentioned. You're looking at a 60% to 70% lower cost than hiring a UK or US equivalent for the same skill level. It's a massive financial advantage.
And finally, culture. What does the source say about that?
This was really interesting. It describes the South African professional services culture as one that emphasizes big picture thinking and initiative. They aren't just task robots waiting for instructions. They are trained to think about the outcome.
So they'll ask why they're doing a task, not just how to do it.
Precisely. They're proactive. And in a role like testimonial gathering, that's huge. They're not just reading a script. They're trying to find the best story.
Okay, so we have the who and the why. Now let's get into the how. This is section 3, the system. VA Connect says they treat testimonials as a workflow, not a creative project. What does that actually mean in practice?
It means they have deconstructed and standardized the entire process into 5 specific, repeatable phases. They don't wing it. They don't rely on inspiration or hope. They rely on a process that works every time.
I love a good process. Let's walk through them. Phase 1 is identification and prioritization.
Right. So a rookie mistake, the one most of us make, is to just blast our entire email list asking for reviews. Dear valued customer, please review us.
It's impersonal, it's lazy, and it's often really annoying. I delete those emails without thinking.
We all do. Instead, the VA Connect VAs start by analyzing your data. They'll look at your CRM, your product usage data, your support tickets. They're looking for signs of happiness.
What kind of signs?
It could be who is logging in the most often, who is using advanced features, who just gave a 10/10 score on a support ticket interaction, who's been a customer the longest. They find the happiest 35–45% of your user base. They target the people who are actually primed to say yes.
That is so smart. It's quality over quantity. Don't ask the guy whose server just crashed last week. Ask the one who just upgraded her plan.
Exactly. You fish where the fish are. Then comes phase 2, personalized outreach.
And this is where the managed part starts to really shine, I'd imagine.
It does. We know that generic emails get maybe a 6% response rate on a good day. The VA Connect VAs are trained to craft personalized messages. They won't just say, "We'd love a review."
So what would they say?
They might reference a specific feature they know the client uses heavily. "Hey, John, saw you use the new reporting feature to generate 12 reports last month. We'd love to hear how that's going." Or they might mention a recent success. "Congrats on the big project launch we saw on LinkedIn. We're so thrilled our tool could be a part of it."
It shows you're actually paying attention.
It shows you care. And sometimes they'll add a small, relevant incentive, like a gift card or a discount. By doing this, they bump the response rate up from 6% to around 38–42%.
That is a massive jump. You're going from 1 in 20 people replying to almost 1 in 2.
It's a complete game changer for the top of the funnel.
Now, phase 3. This, for me, seems like the absolute core of the whole system, the interview.
This is the key shift in the entire paradigm. In the DIY model, you ask the client to write. You give them a blank page. You give them homework. And nobody likes homework.
It's intimidating. You stare at the cursor blinking, and you don't know where to start.
In the VA Connect model, the client doesn't write a single word. They just have to do one thing: talk.
Because talking is easy. Everyone likes talking about themselves and their success. It's effortless.
Exactly. So the VA schedules and conducts a 15 to 20-minute guided interview. But, and this is important, they don't just chat aimlessly. It's not a coffee catch-up.
There's a structure.
There's a very specific framework they use called situation complication resolution. It's a classic storytelling structure.
Okay, break that down.
They start with situation. Can you tell me what life was like before you used our product? What were you using? Then complication. What were the main challenges with that old way? What was the pain point that made you look for a solution? And finally, resolution. How did our product solve that problem? What specific results have you seen?
So they're basically acting as a journalist, extracting the story from the client piece by piece.
That's the perfect analogy. They're story miners.
And that leads us to phase 4, which the source has this great name for. They call it the humanizing function. This is honestly fascinating to me. It's like a deep dive within our deep dive. I want to spend some real time here.
It really is the secret sauce. This is the editorial process that turns raw chatter into a polished asset. Because here's the reality. Raw, transcribed client feedback is usually a complete mess.
How so?
Well, for one, it's rambling. People don't speak in neat paragraphs. They circle back. They go on tangents. It's also full of filler words, ums, ahs, likes,
Guilty as charged.
We all do it.
Yeah.
But you can't put that on your website. And even worse, sometimes it's legally problematic. The source breaks this whole humanizing process down into 4 distinct steps.
Okay, let's go through them. Step 1 is signal extraction.
Right. So imagine a client talks for 12 minutes about how much they love your software. They talk about the nice colors, the easy-to-use buttons, how friendly the support team is. All nice things, but not that compelling.
Fluffy.
But somewhere in that 12-minute ramble, they mention, almost as an aside, that because of the new dashboard, they saved about 6 hours a week on reporting.
Ah.
The VA's job is to hear that one phrase.
Yeah.
That is the signal. That is the nugget of gold buried in all the noise. The 6 hours a week is the headline, not the buttons are nice.
So they find the quantifiable result. Then step 2 is narrative architecture.
This is where they take that signal and build a story around it. Humans are wired for stories. We need a beginning, a middle, and an end. Setup, conflict resolution. The VA takes the raw transcript and structures it logically using that framework. They make sure it flows.
So it's not just a collection of random quotes, it's a coherent narrative.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Then step 3 is compliance. I hadn't really thought about this before reading the source, but it's huge. It's absolutely critical, especially for B2B companies. Let's say a very enthusiastic client says, "We made millions using your tool." That sounds amazing, right?
Yeah, I'd want to put that on the front page of my website in giant letters.
But you can't. It's an unsubstantiated claim. It could get you in hot water with advertising standards authorities. Or another example, maybe they slam a competitor by name. We used to use competitor X, and they were just awful.
Also sounds great, but probably not a good idea to publish.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So the VA's job is to flag those things. They'll either go back to the client to get verification for the claim, or more likely, they'll soften it to something safer and more professional, like, "We saw a significant return on our investment."
So they're brand protector as well. And then the final step, step 4, is readability.
Right. They use tools like the Hemingway app to ensure the final text is written at an 8th to 10th grade reading level. They strip out all the corporate jargon, no synergizing our core paradigms.
Oh, please, no.
It's about using clear, simple human language that anyone can understand in about 30 seconds.
The source gives a fantastic before and after example of this humanizing in action. It's for a client named Sarah Mitchell from TechFlow Solutions. I want to read this is the raw email the client sent. It says, "Hey, just wanted to say thanks for the demo last week. We've been using your software for about 6 weeks now, and honestly, it's been pretty great. Before this, we were using a combination of Google Sheets and Trello, which was a total nightmare to manage. Nobody knew what anyone else was working on. There was always confusion about which spreadsheet was the right one. I think our project completion rate has definitely gone up, maybe 20–25%. Haven't calculated it precisely, but the team is definitely happier, so yeah, great job."
I mean, it's nice. She's happy. But it's a mess.
It's a total mess. It's 213 words. It's rambling. Pretty great is not a strong endorsement. Maybe 20–25% is not a metric you can bank on.
It's a nightmare to try and put on a website. It just looks unprofessional. Now, here is the after. Once it has been through the VA Connect humanizing function. Listen to the difference.
Okay, I'm ready.
Before TechFlow, our team relied on a fragmented system of Google Sheets and Trello, which created constant version control chaos and a lack of project visibility. Within just 6 weeks of implementation, the unified dashboard has completely transformed our workflow. Weekly reporting that used to consume over 2 hours of my time now takes less than 5 minutes. More importantly, our project completion rate has increased by a verifiable 23%.
Wow, okay. That's night and day. It's so punchy. It's only 89 words. It has the specific verified metric 23%. It uses powerful keywords like unified dashboard and version control chaos. It sounds professional. It sounds like a real case study.
And notice, they didn't invent anything. They didn't just make up the 23%. The process involves going back to Sarah and saying, "Hey, you mentioned 20–25%. Can we work with you to nail down the exact number? We think it's 23%. Does that look right?"
So they partner with the client to make them look good too.
Exactly. They extracted the signal, built the architecture, ensured compliance, and polished the language. That is the incredible value of the humanizing function. It turns a casual, friendly comment into a powerful business asset.
And that's not even the end of the process. There's still phase 5, multi-channel deployment.
Because once you have this perfectly polished gem of a testimonial, the worst thing you can do is just stick it on one page of your website and forget about it.
That's a total waste.
It's a huge waste. The VA's job is to turn that one interview into 7 to 10 different assets. They create social media snippets for LinkedIn and Twitter. They create a version for email signatures. They turn key quotes into slides for the sales deck. They format it as a downloadable PDF case study that the sales team can send to prospects.
You squeeze every single drop of value out of that one 15-minute conversation.
You have to. You're building an entire library of social proof assets, not just checking a box that says get one testimonial.
It just makes so much sense when you lay it out like that. It's so systematic. Okay, let's move to section 4 and talk money. Because this all sounds amazing, but what does it cost? We hinted at the insane cost of the DIY method earlier, but let's look at the full cost comparison analysis provided in the source.
Right. The source lays out 4 distinct models here, which is really helpful. First, as we covered, there's the founder DIY model.
The expensive, painful one.
The very expensive one. We established that costs between, let's say, $1,200 and $3,000 per testimonial in pure opportunity costs. And practically speaking, let's be honest, a founder might get 4 to 6 of these done in a year if they're incredibly disciplined.
If they're lucky. I've known founders who've gone years without getting a single new one.
It happens all the time.
Okay.
Model 2.
Yeah.
You could hire an in-house marketing coordinator to do this, a junior person. In the UK, the source pegs that salary at around $56,000 a year, all in. Even if that person is super productive and this is their main job, when you factor in salary, benefits, overhead, and management time, the effective cost per testimonial still works out to about $2,275.
So it's still very, very expensive. And you have all the headaches of hiring and managing an employee.
All of them. Model 3 is the freelance specialist. You go to a marketplace and hire someone who says they specialize in this. The cost here is highly variable, but the source puts it at around $200 to $450 per testimonial.
Which sounds a lot better on the surface.
It does, but remember the management tax and the risk. You have to find them, vet them, brief them, manage them, ensure they stay on brand, and you always have that risk that they'll just disappear mid-project.
The institutional backup problem again.
Exactly. And now the 4th model, the VA Connect Managed VA.
Okay, let's hear it.
This model involves a monthly retainer for a dedicated resource who runs this whole workflow for you. The source lists the general pricing, and in U.S. dollars, it's somewhere around $625 to $875 a month.
For a part-time dedicated person.
Right. When you break that down by the potential output, assuming they are running this 5-phase workflow effectively and generating multiple testimonials a month, the cost per testimonial plummets. It drops to between $42 and $73.
Wait, can you say that again? $42.
$42 to $73.
I'm doing the math in my head. That is a 95% to 97% cost reduction compared to the founder doing it themselves.
It is. It's an order of magnitude cheaper.
That is insane. It's not an incremental improvement. It's a fundamental shift in the economics of social proof.
That's why the source calls it an arbitrage opportunity. You are getting the same, or frankly, a much better and more consistent output for a tiny fraction of the cost. It turns social proof from a luxury item into a commodity you can mass produce.
But it's not just about the cost, is it? It's also about speed. The source talks about something they call velocity.
Speed to deployment. This is just as important as the cost. In the DIY model, the average timeline from a client saying, "I'm happy," to a polished testimonial being live on your site is typically 9 to 11 weeks, if it happens at all.
By which time the client has probably forgotten who you are, and the good feeling is gone.
Or the market has shifted.
Yeah.
Or you've launched a new version of the product, and now the review is talking about features that don't even exist anymore. It's obsolete before it's even published.
So what's the VA Connect timeline?
8 days. From the trigger event, the high CSAT score, the happy comment, to a full multi-channel deployment of all the assets. 8 days.
Why does that freshness matter so much, aside from just feeling good and efficient?
2 reasons. First, freshness signals relevance to search engines like Google. They like to see that your site is active and updated.
Yeah.
But more importantly, human prospects want to see recent dates.
Right.
If your latest testimonial is from 2021, a buyer subconsciously thinks, is this company still alive? Has anyone said anything nice about them in the last 2 years? Did the product get worse? It creates doubt.
That leads directly to this concept the source brings up, which I love, the competitive moat.
This is my favorite strategic insight from the entire white paper. It elevates testimonials from a marketing tactic to a core competitive strategy.
Explain that.
Imagine you're competing head-to-head against another startup. Your product features are similar, your pricing is similar, you're neck and neck in every technical aspect. But you have 50 high-quality, detailed recent testimonials on your landing page, complete with headshots and specific metrics. Your competitor has 4 generic quotes from 2 years ago. Who wins that deal?
You win. It's not even a contest. It's what psychologists call social consensus. If everyone else is saying this is the right choice, it feels like a much safer decision for me.
You win by default because you look safer, more established, and more successful. You have built a moat of social proof that is very, very hard for your competitor to replicate quickly. You can't just go out and buy 50 real, authentic testimonials overnight. It takes time and process.
So while they're stuck in the ask and wait death spiral,
you're lapping them. As one of my favorite quotes in the source says, by the time a DIY founder has 4 testimonials, the VA Connect competitor has 40.
It becomes a game of volume as much as it is a game of quality. Now, Section 5. We've talked a lot about the testimonial engine, but VA Connect isn't just a testimonial factory. They are a managed agency. What does that support ecosystem actually look like? Because I want to understand how they maintain this level of quality.
This is a really important question because it helps answer the how. It's not magic, it's infrastructure. The source anticipates the question, is this hard to set up? And the answer is a firm no.
What's required?
Minimal tech.
Yeah.
A shared Google Drive, access to your CRM, a Calendly link for scheduling. It's simple stuff. The founder's role, after an initial setup phase of approving templates in the first couple of weeks, drops down to just a 30-minute weekly sync call.
But the internal support structures for the VAs themselves, that's what caught my eye. They have these internal programs with very cool names.
They do.
Yeah.
And this is what creates the quality and consistency. First, there's VA Varsity. That's pronounced VA Varsity.
VA Varsity, got it, like university.
Exactly. You can think of it like a free internal Udemy or Coursera that's mandatory for their VAs. It's a massive library of courses on all the tools a modern business uses. Slack, Notion, Airtable, HubSpot, Asana, you name it.
So I, as the client, don't have to spend my first week teaching them how to use Google Sheets or explaining what a CRM is.
You never have to do that.
Yeah.
They hit the ground running on day one, already proficient in your tech stack. It saves you dozens of hours in onboarding. Then they have a program called Atomic Energy.
That sounds intense, like a superhero movie.
It sounds it, but it's actually a comprehensive wellness program for their team. It includes access to nutritionists, fitness coaches, and even mental mobility coaches.
For VAs, that's amazing.
It is. And it's brilliant from a business perspective. What is the #1 killer of remote productivity and quality? Burnout. We've all felt it. Working from home, the lines blur, you get mentally and physically exhausted. By proactively investing in the physical and mental health of their team, VA Connect ensures that the VA showing up to work on your account every day is energized, focused, and sharp. They're preventing the problem before it starts.
That has to be a huge contributor to that 98% retention rate. If my employer was giving me mental mobility coaches, I'd probably stick around too.
I think so. Then there is VAPI, which stands for the Two-Way Happiness Program.
Okay.
This is their internal system for managing the relationship health, both between the client and the VA, and also between the VA and the VA Connect management. It's a proactive check-in system to make sure the culture stays healthy, and that if there is any friction, it gets identified and resolved quickly before it festers into a real problem.
And finally, talent discovery.
Which is just their term for their recruitment engine. The point is, they aren't just grabbing anyone with a laptop and a stable internet connection from a job board. They have a rigorous multi-stage process designed to find and hire the top 1% of talent. They are specifically looking for that big picture, proactive mindset we talked about earlier.
And just to be clear, while we are focusing on testimonials because it's such a great specific example, the source mentions they do a lot of other things too, right?
Oh, absolutely. The testimonial engine is just one high-value workflow they can execute flawlessly. But they provide the whole suite of remote talent. They have executive assistants doing complex calendar management, email inbox management, and travel booking. They have sales assistants doing lead generation, data enrichment, and CRM management. They even have software engineers and project managers.
So you could essentially build out a whole remote team through them.
You could. The testimonial engine is just a perfect case study of their methodology. Take a complex, high-value business process and turn it into a streamlined, affordable managed service.
Let's make this even more real. Section 6, real-world implementation. The source gives us this great hypothetical case study of a company called Cloud Metrics and a VA named Priya. I want you to walk us through what happened there because seeing the month-by-month timeline is really powerful.
I agree. This really crystallizes how the process unfolds. So in month 1, Priya doesn't just jump in and start calling people randomly. She spends that first month setting up the infrastructure.
The foundation.
Exactly. She builds the testimonial database in Airtable. She works with the founder to create and approve the email outreach templates. She gets all the company branding guidelines right. She builds the machine before she turns it on.
Smart. So what happens in month 2?
In month 2, she starts the outreach and begins conducting the first interviews. But this month is all about refinement. She's gathering data. For example, she learns that interviews conducted on Tuesdays and Thursdays get much better, more energetic responses than interviews scheduled on a Friday afternoon when everyone is tired.
That is exactly the kind of subtle insight a founder would never, ever notice because they are too busy putting out a dozen other fires.
A founder just thinks, Nobody's replying. A dedicated VA running a process sees nobody replies on Fridays, let's stop scheduling interviews on Fridays. It's process optimization.
Okay, month 3.
By month 3, the machine is humming. Now she starts layering in automation. She uses a tool like Zapier to connect their customer support software to her workflow. So now, anytime a client gives a 9 or 10 on a CS survey, it automatically triggers the personalized testimonial request sequence. It's running on its own.
So it's no longer manual outreach, it's programmatic.
It becomes programmatic. And by month 4, she's so comfortable with the text process that she expands the program into video testimonials. She starts using tools like Loom for easy screen recording and Descript for simple text-based video editing.
And the results, what did this look like after 6 months of Priya running the system?
The results were pretty staggering. They had 47 new text testimonials, 11 new video testimonials, and the company estimated that the new social proof had added about $94,000 in conversion value to their sales pipeline.
$94,000. And how much of the founder's time did that take?
After the initial setup, about 30 minutes a week for a quick sync call, mostly just to approve the final drafts and say, great job, Priya.
That is the dream. That's the leverage every founder's looking for. Okay, let's talk about the specific investment. What are the pricing tiers? How does a company actually engage with VA Connect?
The source lays out their package structures very clearly. For a dedicated VA, you have a few tiers. It starts with the starter package, which the source lists at $1,038 per month. That gets you 10 hours a week, or about 2 hours a day of dedicated support.
Which is perfect for running a specific workflow like this one.
It's ideal for it. Then it scales up. The full day package is $2,850 per month. That gets you a full 40 hours a week. Basically a full-time dedicated employee running your processes.
That is incredibly competitive for a full-time managed college-educated professional in a Western-aligned time zone.
It really is. And for companies with larger needs, they have what they call their growth accelerator packages. These are for when you need a full team or a large bank of hours.
Yeah.
They have cool names like the Forge, the Summit, and the Apex.
And what's the price range on those?
Those range from about $4,380 a month up to $8,800 per month. And the source mentions their local pricing in South African Rand, which can be, for instance, R12,000, which, well, the dollar amounts are what's relevant for our listeners, but it just shows the arbitrage.
And again, just to hammer this point home, that monthly price includes everything. The management layer, the backup VA, the VA varsity training, all of it.
Everything. No separate HR headaches, no payroll taxes, no benefits administration, no buying them a new laptop. It's a simple, flat monthly fee for the entire managed service.
Okay, we have unpacked a lot here. This has been a true deep dive. Let's head to the outro and try to summarize this. For the listener who's been with us this whole time, what are the absolute key takeaways?
I think it boils down to 3 core ideas. First, and this is the most important mindset shift, testimonials are a workflow, not a favor. You absolutely cannot rely on client goodwill to build your social proof. You need a system.
Stop asking and waiting. Start building a process.
Exactly. Second, there is a massive social proof arbitrage opportunity available right now today. Why? Because most of your competitors are still stuck in the DIY death spiral. They are asleep at the wheel on this, which creates a huge opening for you.
And third,
a company like VA Connect uses a managed service model combined with the unique advantages of South African talent to solve this execution problem for you at, and this is the incredible part, roughly 5% of the cost of you doing it yourself.
it's a pretty compelling argument. The cost per testimonial calculation alone is just mind-blowing. It completely changes how you should think about the problem.
It reframes it from an expensive, annoying chore into a scalable, affordable marketing engine.
So here's the final thought. We always like to leave you with a question, something to chew on.
And here is the question I want you to ask yourself, honestly. If a potential customer, a big one, the kind of dream client that could change your entire year, went to your website right now, this very minute, and clicked on your testimonials or case studies page, what would they see? Would they see a vibrant, thriving, growing community of success stories with recent dates from last month and specific powerful results? Or would they see a digital ghost town with maybe 3 generic quotes from 2 years ago?
Because that silence, that lack of social proof, that is a silence that is actively costing you sales every single day. So the final question is, can you really afford not to have a testimonial engine running?
It's something to think about.
That's it for this deep dive into VA Connect and the world of systematic social proof. Go check out your own website. Be honest with yourself about what you see. We'll see you on the next one.
Take care.